Have you been looking for a Taekwondo podcast with qualified people who know what they're talking about, who help you keep up with everything going on in the Taekwondo world? Well, you found it. This is the Taekwondo Podcast. Taekwondo news, competitions and other events, training and sports science, keeping the fans, coaches, and high-performance athletes up to date with the latest news and trends on Olympic Taekwondo. Let's do this. This is the Taekwondo Podcast. And now your hosts, Coach César Valentim and Peter Nessler.
Hello and welcome to the Taekwondo Podcast. We're a podcast based out of Austria in English language for everyone out there who likes Taekwondo. In this episode, we talk again about the World Championships with Coach Juan Moreno. Welcome to our podcast. I'm Coach César Valentim. With me is Coach Juan Moreno. Hi, Juan.
Hey, how's everything?
Yeah, fine. Yeah, 2 weeks in a row being a guest. I think I have to put you as a host.
Listen, I love to do it. I love to talk about this sport that I love and hate all at the same time.
This is, I usually say it's not my job, it's my religion.
That's a good one.
So we were talking in the last episode about the World Championships. We didn't get to the point of talking about the performance and the matches and the players, the most important part of all our sport. And I think it's time we go talking about them. I would like to probably start congratulating Ashab from Belgium and Valeria from Brazil from being elected athletes committee members. I think it's a good generation that's going to be in charge of the athletes in WT. And the event, the way they voted, the athletes had to do the weight in. Then after the weight in, they had to vote for the representative, made it very fair and democratic. Some athletes were campaigning, even though they couldn't, but it was fun to see that. And as a friend, I supported both of the winners. Actually, I'm lucky. And I think they're going to be doing great things.
I think, listen, Ashal has been around for a long time. I mean, great athlete and a good person, right? I mean, he always has time for people, knows a lot of people, has seen the sport develop, and I think he really, truly loves the sport and wants to see the sport move forward. So I think he'll be a great representative. And, Valeria has, been around for a long time as well. Comes from, she's more of a quiet person. People may not know her as a household name, so to speak, but she's an intelligent woman and a passionate woman. And again, she has a lot of experience from being around for a long time, maybe in a quieter role, but I think she'll be a great representative as well. So congratulations to both of them.
She has the experience of also being in the Brazilian Athletes Commission, where they actually have quite an important role with the federation and as an advocate for the athletes.
Deal with her often. But yeah, she does a great job. She really does.
Yeah. Well, talking about the players, it was sad to see some people missing out. We mentioned in the last episode, some retired, some were injured, some didn't make weight, so some of the big names. And we had surprising results when it came to the events. So, I don't know, should we go by weight class or you want to go in general?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can go by weight class. I mean, or we can just bounce around. I mean, let's start with, why don't we go like 46, 54, you know what I'm saying? Like that, kind of like guy, girl. So we don't just stay with all the guys and all the girls.
I mean, sure. So 46, European champion Lena Stojkovic won the Worlds. Olympic athletes and Andrea Ramirez got a bronze medal. Rukiye Yildirim from Turkey got a silver medal. Chinese Taipei, Wang Yangshuan was right up there. Some others fell through the preliminaries, but I think the results in that weight division were some of the few that were actually fair.
You know what? And I think they were pretty consistent with like some of the players that we've known. There wasn't too many like surprise, like holy cow, where did this person come from? So, yeah, it was a little bit. I'm trying to choose my words. Properly contested. I mean, it played out pretty well. and I think everybody was pretty deserving of their victories. So it was good. I mean, and being from the Patu region, it was nice to see Andrea. She's been fighting a lot at 49, but see her fighting at 46. To get a medal again, her second medal in a row, I believe.
Exactly, second world medal, and she was Olympic athlete.
Yeah. So I think, and she had a good Olympic Games, to be quite honest with you. But I thought that was nice, just from my side of the pond, to see that. Wasn't a whole lot of major upsets, throughout the day in that category either. So
no, because it was on the last day, so the system was tuned, like what we've mentioned in the previous episode. The referees and the system were working much more consistently, and the event was, of course, much more empty. Most of the teams had gone, or the players weren't there, so it was a less stressful event.
And it was the seventh day, and everybody was so tired. I mean, this is just like an unprecedented event to compete on over 7 days. Coaches are tired, referees are tired. I mean, if I fought on the last day, the seventh day, that must have been tough to kind of see all the mood swings, and just then all of a sudden you got to go. So I believe it was 46 and 58 on the last day, if I remember correctly. And that was it? Yeah, it was tough. But
I can imagine for the players, they had to be there supporting their teammates the entire week, and then they still had to compete and make weight in those weight divisions in 46 and 58. That must have been an awful week for them.
It was tough. Well, 54 was amazing, if you ask me. I thoroughly enjoyed seeing Omar, win a gold medal. I'm pretty good friends with his father. I fought his father a couple times. I know the family very well, as they reside in the United States, and he was, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I think him and one other athlete, I think were just the class of their event. I think we'll talk about him in a second, the 63 from China. I think they were just unbelievable, but Omar was special on that day. And, everybody sees him and they forget that he fights at 50. He can fight at 50, make that weight, pretty, I don't want to say, I'll say comfortably, because he's been fighting at 58 for Olympic qualifications and Europeans, big stuff. But man, to see him at 54, he was a monster. And César from Mexico had a revitalization, and he hasn't been in top form in a number of years. He's a good friend of me and my wife's. Has come to our baby shower, come to my wedding. I mean, very close with him since he won a world championship in juniors. My wife was coach of that team, and man, he definitely had a home crowd pull, and to hear that crowd, chanting "César." I mean, it's he's. I didn't know how well received he is in Mexico, and how many people know him, and how many people like him, even more than some of the bigger stars in Mexico. So that was pretty impressive.
I think César is one of those funny talents, because he doesn't produce medals for a long time, and since the junior world championships, and we're talking over a decade ago, he hasn't produced any big name, big result in the big competitions. Yes, in 2012 he was at the Pan Am, very good and all these things, but it was not in the podiums in the top events. He was more like that forgotten player that is still in the national team for all these years, and most people might even wonder why. Others that love the sports have a fan. Are fans from him, because he is one of those players that he deserves to be there, and these world championships showed it.
He has some heartache too. I mean, if you go back in 2016, Mexico qualified directly to the Olympics via his ranking, and then another athlete went. I mean, a very top athlete at the time too, and I think that was the right move for Mexico, as for the best player. But that's got to be a little bit difficult, knowing that you were in the top 6, but they changed you out, for an athlete. But yeah, it is what it is.
But he stayed. And the same situation happened in the last Olympics in another country, and the player just retired. And César, much older than the other players, stayed. And in the same weight divisions. And Omar Salim or César Rodriguez, they're not the big, tall 1.85 m that fight in 54. They are normal, average size for Taekwondo players in that weight class. and they made it. They made it all the way to the podium, and with amazing bouts all the way to the podium.
Yeah, it was. I thoroughly enjoyed that, and I think that listen, Omar's still a young man, and I think there's still more to come. I mean, I think a little bit more consistency on his point. I mean, his father and I said, but he's going to be a special guy. He has.
That family is amazing. I think his sister, the cadet, just won the Europeans.
Spoke to everybody, and you know what the funny thing? One more thing about Omar. I don't know if you agree with this, but I haven't seen an athlete in our sport in a long time that has that little chip on the shoulder. Like he almost wants to show everybody how good he is. He wants to fight. He wants the limelight. You know, I mean, there's not a lot of
he has big shoes to fill. His father, world champion, continental champion. His uncle,
Olympic champion.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, no, you're absolutely right. And we can compare eras and stuff like that. I think there was certain challenges back then. There's more certain challenges now. But and again, I don't know many sons that live up to the fathers. If a father was great, and many sons that live up to that level. There's very few, right? Some that so great their sons or daughters go above, or if they're really high, they kind of fall short. But listen, Omar and Sharif and the other daughters are, I mean, their families is they're amazing.
It's special, like I can remember like top of my head, maybe Maldini, that he's a great football player, and now the son is also there, but not many. You don't see it, definitely not in combat sports. And we know that it's a frame sport. It's not a sport that is so well paid and so well respected by society. Most of the times, we as Taekwondo people don't want our kids to follow our steps because it's expensive. The organization is not the best. The possibilities are harder to get than in other sports. You get a kid, 4-year-old, 5-year-old doing soccer, and if they get into one of these big team academies, he's done for life. Collegiate sports and in US, if you get scholarships, you get to step into a draft for a professional team. You don't have to worry about anything else. We are, even though you're a top athlete, a world champion, son of an Olympic champion, you still have to find a country that takes you a license and money to get a plane ticket. It's a total different sport. Do you want that for your kids?
And again, we'll move on, but the Salim family, specifically, I mean, those guys, you're right, they had to find a country that fit for them, and obviously their father, has fought for Hungary, and his kids, have that that lineage where they're able to do that. But it's there's probably another country that's kicking themselves in the butt right now, saying, "Why didn't we keep that kid?" Because obviously he's pretty special.
That happens a lot. If you look, I remember Anastasia Zolotic was almost going to compete for Bosnia at some point in her life. The same with Canada, and we had players from France, Canada, France changing. Hungary is one of those countries that is quite open because it's a small country with a small Taekwondo community. They are happy to take people that have the passport and are born away. Other countries don't. But again, that's the sport. And it's not a professional sport, so you're changing not because of the money, you're changing because of the opportunity.
Well, Omar hit a home run. Congratulations to him. He was fabulous. 49?
49? Well, the winner, a good one. Well, she did quite good now at the Grand Prix final. Didn't make it all the way to the final, but she did quite good. She lost, I think, to Adriana in the semifinals.
She did,
but on the way to the Worlds, she did a very good semifinal. The final was very very well fought. I have different opinions about the preliminaries. Personally, I think that the fight against Abhishek Sandberg was not a fair call.
Yeah, listen, never about the athlete, right? Never about the athlete. Just we're talking about the process. I mean, there were some things in that early early in the competition again. We said differently on the 46. I'm sorry, the 46 division. Early in the competition, there were some strange things going on. Maybe some poor calls here or there that kind of propelled people. But once again, I think the system let a lot of people down. And obviously, you're right, Daniela. I'm a fan. I was telling my wife this morning. I was watching her warm up, and some of the things she does. She's very smart, and she's very calculated, and she's really improved a lot. And she beat Tijana, I believe, in the semi. Yes. She beat Tijana, who's a world class athlete, had a good day, and that's not an easy feat right there. And then you got to go take on one of the best players in the world. And I think the electronics let down the athlete from Thailand, Panipat, because there was some glaring head points that were not registered because the card was gone. And again, that's the way it played out. And but even with all that, she had to pull out a miracle kick, and she did. That was a blessing, a horrible mistake. And so that whole thing feels strange. But hey, we have a new world champion in 49.
And it's not her fault. She fought well, and definitely not to blame. She was an amazing show. I think it was one of the best semifinals I've seen, a final, in terms of Mexican performance. And Mexico got a lot of medals in this event, but Daniela Souza was, in my opinion, the big one, the one that you are really, yes, that's the final. She deserves it.
She just won the kick of the year, with that kick over a bunch of really good highlight kicks. And I think that kick at that moment on that stage, you can't draw it. It's like a little kid dreaming. I'm using American stuff, hitting a grand slam in the last at bat. She is the last second against the best athlete, a 5-pointer to win to world championships. Gosh.
And not even a normal 5-pointer. She did a tornado kick to the head. It's like, what? In a 49.
Oh no, it was spectacular. So congratulations, hat off to her.
Yeah, I think her and her coach are very well to congratulate on that. Yeah. But for example, in the 58, the winner was one of the favorites, Vito Dell'Aquila. Yeah, he's amazing. He's been at Olympics. He was amazing. At Europeans, he was very, very, very impressive.
I'm going to tell you something about Vito. Like, he wasn't in great form at any of the Grand Prix. He was not in great form. He missed one. He lost at a couple, and he was a beneficiary of the system getting better on the last day, right? He also fought on the last 58 when the system to the body, which he's a very good defensive counter kicker with his bottom of his foot, and he was amazing. But I'm going to go back. I love this stuff when people look at him just dominating the semifinal and final, which was amazing. His quarterfinal match against, I want to say he's from Uzbekistan. Mm-hmm. Or Kazakhstan. He was Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan. Yeah, Uzbekistan was.
He lost the first round soundly. In the second round, he was losing by 3. A Kamjan, another Kamjan, and he had to take 3 or 4 body kicks and literally scored it as time expired to win that round. And he won the third round pretty easily. But I'm talking seconds away from 0 medal.
The world champion.
Goes into a world champion.
And you look at that division, you had Yang Yun from Korea, you have Brandon from Mexico, you have Mohamed Khalil Jandoubi from Tunisia, like such big names. It's different when you go at the world championships and you manage to go through all these top players and one of the best Olympic weight divisions, one of the most competitive weight divisions, and still come out on top. It's amazing.
That was impressive. And, I was speaking to my friends this weekend, the thing about this, I call him a kid. He's a young kid to me. Olympic champion, European champion, Grand Prix final champion, Olympic champion, world champion. This guy, what a resume for such a young man, so hats off to him. He had a great final, great semifinal. And like you said, with all those names in there, that's maybe the best 4 out of all the other divisions, like those top guys getting into there. Maybe Brandon was a surprise. Let's be honest. Brandon was was not expected to get in there, and he fought well through the day. Wasn't up to par like in the semifinals. I think they were a little bit outclassed him a little bit, but still did extremely well for himself to get on the podium for Mexico and for himself. So hats off to him. But what an amazing division, and I was happy for Vito, and he earned it. He earned it all day.
Now, funny one, the 53 division. To see Michaela win. It's 13 years since USA had a world champion, and they got it with someone that was not one of the favorites. Michaela was definitely the underdog in the division. We had Chushu from China with Tiana Bogdanovic, Ivana Duvancic. We had Alma Perez from Spain. Amazing talent, and Michaela got it. And I was talking to her the days before she competed. She was telling me about all the changing, moving from New York to Colorado and then to North Carolina, wherever they are now, and how it all changes. We talked about so many things, from the midterm elections all the way to the training, and a lot about strength and conditioning, because of course people ask me a lot about it. It was so surprising to see how calm she was throughout the day. She was on the other side of the tree from my player. My player lost on the preliminaries to Ivana, the bronze medalist, and that was following the division all the way. And I saw Michaela just getting through, semi-final, and then getting a semi-final like that and all a gold like that. It was like a very surprising division.
Listen, Michaela was one of my athletes for a number of years, and she came from my peak performance program in New York. She moved down to Miami when she was 13 or 14, or early junior. Stayed for a couple of years. Family moved back, and then she moved back before she went out to the academy. So, I've been with her for a number of years, and Michaela's always had that same style that she used right now. Matter of fact, we used to try to get after her to do a few more things, but she's very good at canceling, very strong with it, kicking afterwards. But, watching her throughout the day, because she was on the side, I believe her first match was against Colombia. Second match was against Brazil. Third match for a semifinal was against Fabiola from Mexico. And it's kind of interesting. You probably can't ask for a better situation, a Pan American Championship, to get to a medal round. And so I wasn't so impressed with that as I was when she got to the semifinal and final. I think she beat China in the semi, right?
Yeah, she beat China in the final.
No. Oh,
in the semifinals, she fought Tiana Bogdanovic.
Yes. You're right. I'm sorry. Yes. Mm-hmm. So, it was those wins were they kind of went her way, and it was pretty amazing. Because quite honestly, the American team didn't have the results that they probably wanted, and I looked at the draws and I said, this is the one that can get a medal, based on where again, you're not hitting China or Serbia or a lot of these difficult athletes early in the bracket. So I predicted that she would get a medal. I didn't predict she would win a world championship, but that was pretty amazing. Same thing, kind of like Daniela Sosa, hitting that last kick to basically steal it. So yeah, that was I think 53 is a forgotten division, right? We look at 49, we look at 57, and 53 is kind of like
because you have the players. It's a very mixed division, because you know that the players from 53 for many years, they used to compete in 57, and then you start seeing the 49s going to 53 because it's allowed since 2015. Yeah. And you see Tiana fighting 53 going down. You even saw Panipak this year fighting 53 to even though she's in the Olympic and World Championships in 49. And then you see many players that do G tournaments in 53, but then at the Worlds they go 49, for the exception of Tiana and a few others. It's
a little lost division, but it was good. It was interesting, and hats off to Michaela. It's pretty impressive Again, I've known her for a long time, and to see her win that was pretty neat. Pretty neat.
Well, she deserves it since she's an amazing person and an athlete that had exactly predispositions for those results and for the taekwondo we're fighting right now.
Yep. 63.
Yeah, I'll let you talk about it. It's your division, Liang
That's not
Weishai.
my division, but I tell you what, I didn't know much about the Chinese competitor. And then, again, leading up to it, I have a good friendship with some of the Jordanian players, and they were saying they mentioned it to me. So I went and looked at the Asian championships. I'm like, this guy's the real deal. And if you look at, he mowed people down throughout the day. I mean, again, a lot like I mentioned with Omar, you didn't see this guy just standing there and scoring his points. You saw this guy going after, and I haven't seen. I mean, obviously they have a world champion an Olympic champion in '58, but this guy to me was new and young and strong and active, and I didn't expect it. I didn't expect him to put all on a big stage, and for him just to mow people down. Because so I think it's a tough division. You got a lot of these guys that are extremely tall and strong. They fight in the 68 pretty competitively throughout there. So that was a tough division, and for him to get through that way, I was like, oof. He was him and Omar. To be honest with you, were my two favorites on the men's side. I was impressed by them, young and strong.
But you mentioned Jordanian, that you're friends with them. Zaid Alawani. I can never say their names. Zaid was also very good. The bronze medal definitely well deserved.
Yeah, and he fights well in the 68 division. He's obviously a little lighter, but he's they have a talented 68 and 63, and they got some actually good 58 and 54s that worked well together. But Zaid, because there's two Zaid. He was strong in that category. For his medal world level is very up there, very good.
And one of my favorite players of this new generation is Juan from Spain, and he was also very good.
Yeah.
One of the favorite contestants.
Spain means Spain always intrigues me because it's a bad term to say nowadays, but they're not sexy, right? They're not these flashy guys that stick glare out at you, but they're just efficient. They just get the job done. They snake through that division. You're like, oh, another one. Oh, another one. They had a very good world championships overall. So
but the -8 was sexy. The silver medal, that guy Anthony, he was really good.
Yeah, he was good.
I think nobody expected him to get to the medals.
No, of course not. Not at all. There's a couple divisions like that. So let's move up to where we at, 57?
57. Oh yeah, 57. Talking about females, Lu Zongxi, the way she fought this weekend at the Grand Prix final at the Worlds, that's amazing.
I looked at her point total today with the extra 100 points. She's going to be like 590 or something like that. But first of all,
she's in centimeters, she's 184.
No, I was talking about her points. Her point total.
Points.
Yeah, she with the other 100. First of all, she's a monster. This year, she won Asian Championships, Grand Prix 1, Grand Prix 2, Grand Prix 3, President's Cup, Grand Prix Final, World Championships. I mean, and all this year. Like this, all her points are this year. I mean, she's a beast. So, we spoke a little bit about last session. I remember 57 was the first day.
Mm-hmm.
Chaos. It was awful. I want to give some context to something that happened. So, a fighter that I know very well, Skylar Park from Canada. She was fighting, and there was nothing going on. She was fighting with Chinese Taipei, who actually got to the final and fought extremely well. There was a back kick that 2 points went up. The other 2 points.
Oh no! They removed the 2 points from the contact.
So coach cards, 2 points more, denied. Took the 2 points off. Found out that competing in test mode. I don't even know how that is, but that's what happened. So I'm going to go back one match before that.
Let's go. Like what I heard that head of team went and complained about it, and they told him it was in test mode. But there is no test mode. If there's test mode in the battle system, it's the system just switches off.
I don't know what happened. They said that the point was scored by the referees, not by contact. Weird.
But you don't see that in the video. In the video, you see that it's contact.
Well, that's what. Well, then why did they take off the points?
Referee mistake, video replay, and central referee mistake. But they don't assume it. They always blame it on something else.
So, conspiracy theory Juan speaking here. I'm going to go back to the match before. The match right before was American Anastasia versus Chinese Taipei.
Yes.
First round. No, I'm sorry. No. American versus Korea. Yes.
Korea?
Yes. Okay. Match right before, because Anastasia moved on, Chinese Taipei moved on, and they fought in the quarterfinals. So anyway, it was the match right before Skylar Park and Taipei. And so I'm watching it. First round, Anastasia wins 1-0 because Korea fell down. Kind of strange because Anastasia points. We didn't know that the systems weren't working so well. 1-0. Second round, pretty active fight. 0 touches. 0 touches. Referee decision for American. Didn't think much of it. Then the Skylar Park match happens, and all of a sudden we kind of find all the stuff later. I bet you that was the same thing. Whatever system failure that they had in the park in the Canada and Taipei match had to happen in that match, because I just refuse to believe that somebody of Anastasia's quality and a Korean quality have 0 touches on the chest protector in 2 rounds. I just something happened. So anyway, fast forward. I think it was a little bit of a strange event, but of course, Chinese athlete. She's amazing. I watch her all the time. She's a class ahead of everybody else. The Taipei girl had a great event as well for her to get up there. I mean, she's always been dangerous, but she went through the gamut. I mean, she beat
the podium was quite correct, because if you look at Chinese Taipei, Jay Jones, Hatice Kubilgum, these are the contestants you see on the podiums everywhere. The Grand Prix final was Hatice against Luo Zhongqi. So we're talking about the finals. Yes, there were mistakes, especially on the first day when we were watching the final. Everyone was watching the final because it was the opening ceremony day. It was awkward. It was to see the video replays, to see the system doesn't working, especially the system didn't working, was something that was getting us really
little did we know, huh? Little did we know what was to come. But listen, hats off to those 4. You're right. At the end of the day, quality people, quality athletes, and they somehow survived that crazy first day. So good job for them. So 58.
But there were some surprises though that day in 57. Saudi Arabian, the Lebanese girl was very good. There are some good players that you see competing in the Grand Prix that were doing quite well. Some fell, and it is, to be fair, my favorite division in female. It's the division that is strong and fast and acrobatic, and it's not a boring one. They've always had creative players, from Eva Calvo to Jay Jones to it is Anastasia herself, and of course my current favorite female athlete, Luo Zhongqi. She's amazing.
I picked 67 for my favorite, but we'll get to that one.
Sometimes not at these worlds, but maybe you like Leslie. We'll go there later.
Not at this world. No, not at this world. 68 men. That's a marquee division right there. Marquee division. So
it is the division where you always had amazing players come out from. I think that's for 20 years it has been it's the 57 of male. It is the featherweight division, right? So the featherweight is the poster boys of our sport. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And maybe Bradley is not the kind of player we are used to see in the 68, but everyone else is, except at this world. Some of the traditional scoring techniques and the show that the 68 used to put, you didn't see it at this world. But the Korean, the Kwon, was very good.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Korea's bringing a whole crop of new young kids that can fight, and they're different. These boys are different. These like your typical Koreans that were technical and passive. These guys are put their head down and come at you, and they're bringing the fight to you. Their cardio is through the roof. I mean,
you saw it at the Grand Prix at the Worlds, yeah.
Yeah, their output is just something special, and I think we talked, I think in the last session about the new style of round by round by round, and where some countries were used to putting their foot on the pedal in the first round and basically breaking you by the second round. And that was their system. And now that system is backfiring on them because they're expending so much energy in that first round. Oh yeah, we got to start all over the second round, and then they're dropping these matches. The Koreans have learned they put the pedal to the metal, and then they can keep you going, and they break you from, even if they drop a round, they know that they're going to get you in the second and third round because it goes back to zero. And whatever lead you had, you got to start all over again. And most people can't keep it up. So yeah, this gentleman he was awesome. There was some upsets early on. The Olympic champion lost early. I believe the Grand Prix finalist, Zayed Karim from Jordan, he lost in a quarterfinal to Azerbaijan, I believe. And
yes,
Azerbaijan
to Javad Agaev, yeah.
He beat so he beat the Olympic champion and Zayed Karim. It was a tough division, but that's like you said, it is a marquee division. I always say the featherweights, they're the perfect mix of height, speed, and power, right? They have everything. I mean, you can't be short, you can't be slow, you can't be weak, because if you are, you'll get exposed. So
talking about the young talent, the Iranian national team was very young. They were 17, 18, 19-year-olds. And this guy, Reza Kalhor, was a monster. A monster.
I watched him all day long, and that boy put his head down, and he just punched and grabbed and kicked. And we're going to see. And he was, what I liked about him? He wasn't so tall. He wasn't that tall.
He wasn't one of those weight cut manipulation. No, he was,
he reminded me of an even more dynamic Abu Fazi from before. Yes. Yeah, I mean, but listen, Iran is world class. I was talking to Hadi, the president, and he was saying that they have 1 million people doing Taekwondo. He said they have, oh my gosh, I forgot the number now, 111 professional teams or something like that. And they have a Super Liga. I mean, they have it going on. I think what's interesting is I think they have to be careful that, this is my opinion, that they compete so much domestically for their home teams that sometimes when they go abroad, they're desensitized to the big moment, And
but I think that these players, and I see himself, the president, he was a star at this time. I remember him at the Olympics in -80 in 2005. Actually, was commenting with him that we have the same picture with 20 years difference, and the competition teams that do the league, their professional events, are not the ones that are on the national team.
I understand
the players that they have in the national team and competing outside, it's not the same.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. I mean, they brought up. I mean, the coach Bijan is a great guy. He knows what he's doing. He took a big chance of getting young kids, and they performed well. I don't think they had the medal results that they wanted overall, but I think they were dangerous.
The male team was good.
Yeah, I mean, they were.
The female team was below par, and the female team, yes, of course, they have produced in the past, but it's a sport that is still very male dominated over there, and I think the female team is not there yet.
62. Let's go to 62 female.
62. I remember talking to
162.
Leonardo, the Sara Shari.
Oh, yes.
And when she's a junior, right? And I remember when she started showing up last year and the first year of senior, right? Competing in junior last year, beginning of this year. Sophia Open, and how she was struggling to get the gold medal. She managed to, through her size and through her technique, to get all the way to the medals, but never to the gold. And then on the second semester, it clicked. She became, junior world and the senior world.
I saw her at the Grand Prix the first time she beat an athlete that we coach, and I just couldn't believe how well she could kick inside in short distance for being so tall. I'm like, this how? I just didn't get it. So I watched her through that day, and she got a medal at a Grand Prix, and then of course now she's on my radar, quite honestly. And yeah, she was classy, she was skillful, and to be a junior world champion and senior world champion in the same year, I mean, that's just like mind blowing. Yeah. I just can't even fathom it. So that's impressive for her, impressive for their coach and Leonardo, and just the Belgian Federation. It's pretty neat to see again a small. We all have a little soft spot for like the small federations that can do something big like that. So just like when Ashab was kind of running the table, I respect those guys a lot.
Yeah, but Sara, she comes from Charleroi, from a small club, and you don't see anyone else coming from that club. She is really like the exception. And the fact that they took her into the national team, and Belgium is strange because they have like two national teams, and since Karim moved to Australia a few years ago, some of the players moved to the French side, and they have all that problem. I'm not very aware of the opening over there. I think no one else is, except the ones who live in Belgium. But to take the risk of investing in such a young girl, and in the beginning of the year, taking her as a national team to all these events, and the fact that she started from zero in January, and she went all the way to the Grand Prix in the same year, it tells you a lot.
They're smart, and they saw it, they recognized it, and you're right. It took a leap of faith, but it paid off for them. So congratulations. She was definitely very classy in that category. And it was a tough category. I mean, there was some still early on it was the second day of the event, and there was some phantom points, taking good fighters out of the mix and stuff like that. But I think she was world class, and she definitely deserved to be a world champion.
Yeah, I think like for example, the silver medal, again, also a junior, Tepola, and as bronze medals, Alaya is also not that old.
Yeah,
so
young person sport. I mean, that doesn't surprise me anymore. It does surprise me when a junior wins a world championship, though. I'll tell you that.
We always keep saying that the juniors is a different league. When they come to seniors, they get a hard meeting with the reality.
I will say this. I mean, my wife is a coach, and so we talk about. I mean, you see sometimes these juniors come up and they're fearless, right? They don't know what they don't know, and so they just full steam ahead. On the other side, maybe a senior player is like, who is this kid? And they get him. And it just takes a little time for the big players and the big coaches to kind of take notice, and they'll make adjustments. I mean, I don't want to point out names, but you see a lot of players that kind of shoot up, and then all of a sudden, first of all, you can't.
Then they know them. Then they know them. We know them. We've studied them. We know what they fight. We know what they do. So they're not, the surprise factor is not there anymore.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that's the case with her, because I think she's the real deal. I think she's going to cause some problems even in the Olympics 67. Get to in a second. So just well-deserved world championship for her. And I think that was, for me, a breath of fresh air. Her and Omar being so young, it was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So I definitely like that. Just the specialty of it to be the first female world champion from Belgium is like pretty amazing. Pretty amazing in this day and age. I mean, that's like historic, groundbreaking. So awesome.
It's gonna be very good for the sport over there. They have amazing talent. They had Simo Ketby in 2015 getting a silver. They had Ashraf. They had Murat. So that's now as a coach, and having now the female side. And they do have other people. They have Ralea Semani and stuff, but they're not born in Belgium, so it's a different feeling. 74, you were saying, well, 74, positive and surprising some of the results. My opinion, the silver medalist was a fresh air, seeing Netinho getting, after the Junior Worlds and the Junior Olympics, a few tough years as a senior, now getting a World Championship medal, finally.
And he fought well. His first match of the day wasn't so good, but he started better and better. His big match was a semifinal, against Tunisia. I mean, he played it super smart and scored a timely point right at the end to steal that, to snatch that victory from the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was huge.
You were coaching, right?
No, I wasn't. But I felt that was going to be our world champion right there. I really did. Obviously, I worked with Brazil, and I just felt it in my bones that was going to be the one. And sometimes when you have a big match and you have a little letdown, I think that, in my opinion, and again, the Spanish fighter he's so tricky. He's so sneaky. He's so detailed. He's smart. He's a smart guy. And he, again, flies under the radar. He doesn't wow you, but then you're just like, what happened here? And he just beats you. And that's exactly what happened. I think we had such a big win. And then it was kind of like, we just beat this giant. We can beat this guy. And no, he was not up to par on that one. And that was, a big world champion for Spain. That was awesome. Awesome.
But a big surprise in that division was the Serbian guy, Stefan Takov.
Oh, yeah.
Did you expect him to get to the medals? That was...
No, not at all. We were obviously happy with that result. But, again, I like that we're talking about this because there's so many, tightly contested matches throughout the day. And all of a sudden, boom, these people pop through. And that's what, if we know anything about the sport in general nowadays, we're seeing this happen a lot. But the World Championships in particular, you see the big guys going out early, and you see some of these young kids popping up. We'll talk about the next division in a second when we get to 80. But, well-deserved gold medal for Spain, and, happy to see our guy, get on the podium as a silver medalist, and then, Tunisia and Serbia, bringing in the bronze. So it's pretty good.
It was very good. Well, one of your divisions, 67.
I'll start with that because that is the surprise of the surprise. Okay.
Leslie, yes.
To see Leslie win a world. I've seen Leslie since she's been a junior. I've seen her compete. Didn't even win Pan Americans, and then all of a sudden to be a world champion is just, it bewilders me, quite honestly. And she's a strong girl. She's a tough girl. She has a certain game plan. She doesn't really deviate from it. And it kind of worked out in her favor. But obviously there was some controversy early in. She was second day of the competition. There was still a lot of weird things going on, a lot of cuts or a lot of points that were going up. And there was a couple controversial calls, like even in I believe her second match with Canada,
or even in the semifinals and finals.
Quarterfinal match against Julia from Jordan. Boom! The points go up.
No, that was the preliminary.
No, that was quarterfinal.
Quarterfinal, exactly. Because Juliana, I think I've never seen an athlete being. Actually, it was a very unfair for Juliana because. And I think she even greeted the coach, and she left the venue, and she even made a social media comment about it with the moderation that an athlete has to have. But she was obviously unhappy with the result. Like all of us, we couldn't. It was very hard to swallow that one.
Like I said, that was a tough division. We had one of our athletes, Moreno.
Milena, of course, yeah.
She didn't have an easy route. She, fighting China first, China early in the draw, just made the Grand Prix final, fighting Mateo, the Olympic champion, right down to the wire to get into that bronze medal match, and fell a little short in the bronze medal, but nevertheless, good result for her. This is her second back-to-back bronze medal at the World Championships. She had a tough Grand Prix series 1, 2, and 3.
She had a tough year. The last 2 years, she moved to another city. She changed coaches. She changed department. She traveled a lot. And we all know I've coached Milena many times in the recent events. And she's an amazing person, and very happy that she got the bronze medal. Also for Cecilia from Spain, the people that I like. But one of my favorites, someone that I thought would actually get the gold medal, was silver, and that's Alexandra Perisic. She was amazing.
She fought well. She's a strong fighter. She beat our athlete in the semifinal. I think as that podium was nice, but think about the notables that lost in that category. This is why I said this is my favorite division. So all those people, I mean, think about it. I mean,
yeah.
Leslie's good. I'm just going to the medal. Leslie is good. Spain is good. Milena is good. Serbia is good.
Serbia.
But let's go to people that lost. Ruth, Magna,
Gabi, yeah. Magna,
China. You're talking about 3 or 4 other quality athletes that, and I think just something that took so much quality that podium at the World Championships 2 weeks later, 100% different.
Yes.
100% different. Juliana winning. Second was China, and the third was Magna.
But again, if the 67 would be later on in the event, the results would be different.
I 100% agree. 100%.
But surprise, surprise would actually be the next division, but we're going to about it later. Let's go to the boys. You go first.
Right on the back, match number 1. The champion, number 1 ranked person from Italy, Simone, boom, gone to Mongolia.
To Mongolia, yeah.
I'm like, what the heck is going on? But again, this was the first day. And so, like, you just didn't know what was going on. You're just like, wow, he can't score. I don't know what's going on. Well, little do we know.
The boy from Brazil, he was definitely the underdog, and he managed to quarterfinals? No, he lost in the second medal.
Quarterfinal, he beat the gentleman that beat the United States player, and he lost to the eventual world champion from Korea. And the Korean gentleman fought well that day, but again, some of the big guys, Salah. I mean, people are just going down left and right, and.
Safe Isa. Come on. One of the favorites. It was like, again, what happened in minus 18?
And again, flip the script. Another week, you have the champion from it, or Simone wins the Grand Prix final. You have a different Korean, and then you have Steph. I mean, it's just crazy. That's what I was talking about. The inconsistencies, whether it's the rules, whether it's the PSS, whether it's the referees. I don't know, but it's strange, and that
for me the surprise was definitely the Spanish guy coming all the way so far. He's an amazing person, but he was never someone you would put your money on getting into the podium.
No offense, 80 doesn't count, 57 doesn't count, 67 doesn't count, 62
barely.
Barely. And who else was on that second day? 74? 74. The first 2 days shouldn't count. It was chaos. Not because they didn't do what they need to do, but the chaos just blows my mind. Anyway, let's move on.
It's not the players' fault. The players deserve to be there. It's they did their job, but we couldn't. That's the problem.
73 women, 73 middleweight.
To be fair, heavyweight divisions and middleweight divisions in female, it's both divisions that are not so spectacular. Some very different rhythms on the matches, and they're always so close because the difference of at least the scores are also similar that it's always a coin draw away to see who wins.
What's the Serbian girl's name? You're better with
Nadica Bozanic.
Listen, her left leg is gold. I mean, she don't miss with that leg, man. She's like, I saw her fight early in the competition, and I like to gamble. I like to bet, and I'm putting my money on Damin Lee. And when she got her, I was like, woo, that was impressive. And Serbia, obviously, they always have great women.
But Nadica was, even she's good. We all know that she's from Galeb. She's one of his top players in the last few years. And they do have some in those heavy divisions. You have Nadica. You have Alexandra Perisic. You have in 62, if you want, you can have the also the girl from Canada, also Nadica, Nadia. I forgot her name right now. She's gonna kill me when she sees me. But they do have good divisions, Melissa Manos, of course, and the top contestants. But then you go to the 49s, and you have Vanya, you have Tiana, you have. It's like it's Serbia. It's always a surprise. I think Nadice going all the way to the gold was not expected. I was definitely betting on Dabin Lee, but yeah, or Rebecca McGowan herself. But,
she had a good tournament too. She had a good tournament. So yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting the Serbian athlete to get all the way there, but she was quality. She was quality. She scored very good points, and I'm surprised that someone didn't pick up on her left leg and cover it a little bit more, because I would love to go back and watch her matches and watch her percentage rate of when she threw it and when it scored, because I bet you it was pretty high, because she was very efficient with it. So hats off to her. Another gold medal for Serbia on the women's side, and they keep going forward. So that was awesome.
This podcast is supported by Hawken Dynamics. Hawken Dynamics believes that technology is most useful when it stays out of your way. That's why Hawken developed the world's first wireless force plate system with extreme usability. It is the quickest, easiest to use, and most robust solution on the market. It is trusted by all sports organizations, large and small, as well as tactical, military, and rehabilitation environments around the globe. It's force testing in the palm of your hand. Here at Taekwondo Center, we use Hawken Dynamics to test and monitor our team. The cloud-based platform allows us to access data and publish a variety of reports on the go. My favorites are trend reports and, of course, weight reports, where I can monitor different metrics to view progress and identify performance indicators, or to compare weights to a baseline data range. I use it on a daily basis to identify readiness. A simple jumping test takes me less than a minute to assess the entire team. Having my own Hawken Dynamics force plates allows me to test reactive strengths, maximum strengths, rate of force development, asymmetry, and so much more. The real-time feedback on the app is useful not only for testing, but as a training tool, making it more accurate and at the same time more engaging for the athletes. If you are interested in learning more about Hawken Dynamics or getting your own, the team can be reached at info@hawkendynamics.com or on Instagram or Twitter @HawkenDynamics.
This podcast is sponsored by First Beat Sports. First Beat Sports combines the most comprehensive analytics in team sports with a customizable interface to support real-time monitoring, recovery monitoring, performance management, and much more. The result? Data-driven decisions that support your athletes and team training, recovery, and performance goals. First Beat Sports is trusted by professionals. Over 23,000 athletes representing over 1,000 teams around the world rely on the solution to train and plan with confidence on a team and individual level using HRV-based insights. For more information, please visit our website, firstbeat.com/sports.
When talking about Taekwondo training, we need to talk about Athlete Analyzer. Athlete Analyzer is the first Taekwondo-specific athlete monitoring system. It is used by both national teams, regional squads, and small clubs to maximize performance, prevent injuries, and communicate with both athletes and trainer teams. Athlete Analyzer is a cloud-based system with a friendly smartphone app. You can plan and monitor every aspect of your training, even when you are not in the gym with your team. The easy-to-use video analysis tool is not like anything you've seen. It helps you understand your athletes and even their opponents, making this app the only tool you need to manage your team. Before I used Athlete Analyzer, I spent an absurd amount of time in front of the computer, creating spreadsheets and using half a dozen software solutions. I have athletes in my center, but also abroad, and with Athlete Analyzer, it's much easier to communicate, plan, and monitor their development. Now that I have extra time, I can focus on what matters, training my athletes, and it still leaves me some room to do other stuff, like this Taekwondo podcast. Athlete Analyzer offers you a 2 weeks free trial. Visit them at athleteanalyzer.com to sign up, or click on the link in the episode's description. To get the most of your free trial, I recommend you first book a free personal demonstration with Nicholas. It will give you a great insight of what Athlete Analyzer has to offer you and your team. It is well worth the time.
You're listening to the Taekwondo Podcast. Now back to your hosts, Coach César Valentim and Peter Nessler.
Well, let's go to their first world male medal, world champion.
Listen,
minus 87.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he's he's a great person, right? We've known him for many, many years, and we know he's moved from another country to Serbia and had a big injury before the last Olympic cycle. And for him to come back, it was kind of like a sentimental win, right? It was kind of nice to see. So who was on that podium? It was him.
It's him. It's Mingwan Meng from China. Nikita. And Brian Salazar.
Brian Salazar was a big surprise. He had a very crazy match with Czech Cece, in the quarterfinals. I didn't.
2 weeks later, Czech wins the Grand Prix final.
Go figure. I don't want to go there. I'm just going to leave that one alone. I mean, listen, again, a gold medal for Serbia again, and he's a quality fighter. We knew what he could do. I guess what we didn't know was how he was going to hold up, after having such a long break, right?
And his age, because he was world champion, he was Olympic athlete many years ago for Iran. Then he stopped for all these years due to the injury, also the change. He got married, and
did he marry a professor? Serbia?
Yeah, he married Tanya.
I like him. Mahdi's such a good person. He's one of those. I love all the Iranians. To me, they're just always so respectful and so humble, in my opinion. And so,
I don't like all the Iranians. I love Mehdi.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's a class act, and he's one of those kind of guys that you're cheering for and pulling for, And so to see him do that, and again, age and all the things he's gone through in his life. I mean, let's be honest, it's not easy. It's controversial to where he came from, where he's at, and so to see him have that success.
It is and it's not, because it is not taking anyone's spot. It's like they're not like Serbia has someone else in that division at his level.
No. I'm just talking a big player like him with a pedigree like him to leave his country to go for another country. We've seen some other athletes before they became good. They were good, I'm sure, but before they became a star, move on to other countries, Malad, stuff like that. But he's a household name over there. So to see him kind of leave,
it happens. Look, I think it's not as shocking as Kimi Alizadeh. That's much the way she left is way shocking.
That's real shocking, But anyway, listen, it's a great result for them to get Serbia to get a male gold medal. It's pretty awesome, and we all know Dragan so well, and he's more. I would, no offense, but he seems like more of a female coach that he's coached in his career. He's had big success with that. So to see him have this good athlete and him to navigate him through the world championship to the world champion is pretty special for all those guys. So
I think Dragan again elected best coach of the year just this weekend or last week. Dragan is a person that has amazing resources as a coach and as a person. So he knows how to look at the talents, how to nurture these talents, and how to bring them all the way to the high level, to the high stage. The fact that he did it with Mehdi is, I think it was because it was the first jam that he had to work with. Maybe he had and he has a lot of juniors. His son was a good player, but he never had the chance to have a male like this. No. Because now it was proven with the right people, I can also make male world champions. And it's going to be a paradigm change for Galeb and for Dragan's club. He has a result and historical background in females, and now he's proving that the males are also there. So,
well, definitely, hats off to him. So, last division, women's and men's heavyweight. Women's heavyweights, new girl.
Women heavyweights. Again, when the top contestants are not playing, it's a little interesting to see.
To see this girl get to win the whole thing. I in the Olympics, there was some people that were supposed to be there, not supposed to be there, and there was a potential matchup for the Mexican athlete that I was coaching with, and so I studied her a lot. But wow, to see her first of all, she doesn't look like a heavyweight. She looks like a 73 that could cut to 67. I mean, she's not a big one. Some of those nowadays, the German athlete is a big lady. She got another medal. It just to see some of those athletes move in their size. She does not fit the mold. What's her first name again?
Svetlana.
Yes, but
Yeah, because you look at Lorena from Germany, or you look at Marlene. These are people that are almost 1 meter 90. That's I don't know, 6'2", 6'3". And then Dana from Israel, the silver medal, is also big, but Svetlana is not. She must be what, 181, 180, 182, 6 feet, 5'9". And in terms of resources, it's a right leg in the front, and that's it. She doesn't change guard at all. She does fencing, kicking, roundhouse kick, up, down, stepping.
Not being mean, but like, again, the world champions, I think there was 4 world champions that lost first match in the Grand Prix, and she was one of them. So, I mean, it happens, look, when you're on and things are working that day, like it was for her, she was world class. I mean, I guess you only have to do it for 8-9 hours, right? And that's what she did. Again, and Uzbekistan in general are obviously coming up. They have quality athletes, young ones, and
they have Feruza in 62. They have the Nikita in the boy. So
they're doing something right. They're doing something right over there. So I applaud them, and that was a surprising, but again, another pleasant.
Well, it's interesting to see how the podiums come out when Russia is not playing, or when some of the players are not showing up at the event, or they retire, they're injured. So when you see, for example, Sani Macedo not competing, when you see Bianca Walden Cook not competing, when you see Melissa Mandic not competing anymore, it's a different game, and it's good because it's the opportunity. Svetlana was in the right place on the right time. The same with Dana from Israel, the same with Lorena, the same with Marlene from Austria. They were there, they deserved, they fought amazingly. You saw Turkey fall down, you saw Colombia fall down, you saw amazing players that couldn't make it that day, and you see the surprises coming to the podium, and it's deserved. They did well. They amazing days. I said Lorena won against Iran. She totally dominated the match. Dana all the way through the day. Marlene, of course, I saw all the fights. She's from Austria, and gave Canada in the first round. Surprise victory against the favorite, the Colombian girl. And then she beat Nifka from Turkey in the quarterfinals, and there she goes, semifinals.
You're right. There's a lot of opportunity now for when some people are not there and they're kind of retired, and you're seeing a new generation of athletes. And Lorena, she's got back-to-back medals. She didn't win a medal here at the Grand Prix final, but I mean, these ladies are coming into form, and I think next year is going to be pretty interesting. In 6 months, we could see even a different group of winners. So, it was pretty nice to see.
In heavyweight, I think the pool is almost the same. Top 10 athletes. It's not a big weight division. You're comparing, for example, 57's Olympic ranking. There is 1,000 players. Heavyweight has 240, so you cannot compare the pool of players. So it won't change that much.
30 that are relevant. Maybe that. So
I would say 12 that are relevant or in the world division. But not in the Olympic, yes, 30 relevant players. But the male, it's a little bit different.
So I will say off the top, Carlos Sensores is one of my friends, good friend of mine. For me to think that he's the world champion is a shocker. But he went to the last World Championships and got a silver medal as well. This guy has been in 2 finals of the World Championship in the last 2 World Championships. So that's pretty impressive and pretty consistent. So, but it was shocking. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that I thought it was going to happen. I mean, like you said, first of all, there's a Russian missing. Razak from Niger wasn't really up to form like we thought. Rafael from Cuba was injured in the final Grand Prix in Manchester, couldn't perform over here. I mean, there were some things that kind of fell down. Carlos had a very, very close match with the American kid in the quarterfinal, but close. I think it was a tie, and I think the last round was tied, but he won in superiority against Iran in the semifinals.
Yeah, but César Mardani he deserves to be there. The same with China or Spain. So why not Carlos? Again, if he's consistent to be at a peak performance on the right events, that's congratulations to him and his trainer.
No, and that's why I said that. I just, with my brain, I just think of these other fighters. I never thought that Carlos would be the one. And I mean, I coached an athlete that lost to the Spanish athlete in the quarterfinals, and he's a lot like their 74, solid, clean points, and to see those guys get through was pretty impressive. But
I think Ivan is from Spain. Is like, it reminds me a lot of Mehdi. He's always smiling, always friendly. We always think of the boxing heavyweights as these tough guys, but the Taekwondo heavyweights are like these teddy bears, happy.
Giants, nice guy. And Carlos is like that. Carlos is always smiling. Coach, I won't tell you. I asked him how he celebrated afterwards. I won't tell you because I don't want to divulge private information from him. But he told me how he celebrated. But funny enough, he told me what his pre-event was like. And I'm like, only a heavyweight from Mexico would do that. And guess what? Listen, I have a soft. I love Carlos. He's a great guy. He's a good family man. He's got 3 daughters. And like I said, to win a world championships in your country and have your wife and kids in the stands, it's like a dream. I mean, that's got to be like a dream. And I know they had 2 other world champions too, right? Yeah, 2 other world champions.
They had
Leslie and Daniela.
Leslie and Daniela.
They're not married. They don't have kids. So to see him do that, it was just that was great. So, and you know what? Power to him. He followed it up with a silver medal at this Grand Prix final. So Carlos Sensones is on fire right now. He's got his game down. He had a very bad Olympic Games, and so this is a great rebound for him. And I couldn't be happier for him. He's a great guy.
Well, he's a Pan American champion, and so silver 2019 world champions. He's not the youngest guy, but again.
What I like about him, he knows his strength and he plays to it, and he forces people to deal with it. So I think it's.
And to be fair, sorry, I said he's not the youngest guy. For a heavyweight, he's young.
Yeah.
He's like what, 25?
Yeah.
For a heavy 25, 26. So for a heavyweight, there's still a lot of him as long as he wants to.
He's there's some years left in him, as long as he wants to do it. So more power to him.
Well, the World Championships, in terms of the players, I see that this new generation is way more athletic than the generations before. Yeah. You don't see so much of that drastic weight cut players showing up. There's rumors that they want to cancel the random weight in. I hope they don't do that because it keeps the players in line.
I think so.
With some exceptions, I still wonder how some of the Asian girls can be so tall in those weight divisions, or some of the North African guys. But it's, in most cases, you don't see the tallest guy win. You see the most dynamic and the most fierce guy winning the matches.
Well, in talking our last podcast, we talked about the event. But I think it's refreshing that we talk about these athletes and listen. The athletes can only control what they can control. They won, they lost, they got through. Anyone that's ever been on a world championship podium, it's a special place. It's not easy. I don't care what happens. It doesn't happen by luck. You get there and you got to make your own luck. So I respect all these guys. From the gold, silver to the 2 bronzes. It's an amazing feat. The unfortunate part is you only get to look at it for 6 months because there's another one coming up. So, sorry, guys. You can't even be like, I'm a world champion for the year. It's like, yeah, you got 6 months, and 2 months we have holidays. So get ready, But congratulations to everybody. Well done.
All of them in every weight class, from the 46 to the plus 87. They were like amazing.
All right. That was awesome. Wrap up on these guys.
Juan, it was a pleasure having you here with me. Again, I will invite you to more of these podcasts, totally unscripted. We chat with a friend and we have 1 hour of content, and people are at home thinking these guys are crazy. They're going to say something that's going to get them into trouble, but we don't care. We've been doing this, and no one else is doing this. So
no, hey, like I said last time, and thank you very much for having this and for doing these type of things. I think they're full of packed of information, and yeah, maybe it's our opinion a little bit, but. Somebody's got to do it, right? Nobody does it. So I think it's fun. It's awesome. And we need more things like this to build these athletes up, to build these coaches up, to build these programs up. I mean, our sport needs it. So thank you for what you do. I really, really respect it a lot, César. It's awesome.
Thank you, Juan. Have a good day. And I hope, I know you're going back to training. This was the Taekwondo podcast. If you haven't already listened to our other episodes that are available wherever you listen to our podcasts, we're releasing new episodes every Tuesday. Stay tuned, subscribe to the podcast, leave us a positive review, and share it with your friends. See you next time.
You've been listening to the Taekwondo podcast, keeping the fans, coaches, and high-performance athletes up to date with the latest news and trends on Olympic Taekwondo. Your host, Coach César Valentim, has almost 20 years of experience with high-performance Taekwondo and has worked all around the world as a Taekwondo trainer. Peter Nessler has been teaching Taekwondo for more than 20 years, and he's currently one of the top referees in Europe. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on Instagram at Taekwondo Podcast, on Facebook at Taekwondo Cast, and the website taekwondopodcast.com. See you next time.